Hi everyone and welcome to another Doctor Who Series 6 figure review by me, Meg Shots, and as you can see today I'm going to be reviewing one of the brand new figures which is only available in Wave 1A of the Series 6 figure line, and this is Nephew the Ood from episode 4 of Series 6, The Doctor's Wife. Now I got this figure today from Argos. I was really happy to find it in there because it was the figure I was looking for, and I did know that this is quite a rare figure at the time, so I wasn't sure whether I was going to find it or not, but when I got it I was really happy. I think it's a great figure. It's very much like the Series 2 Ood figure, and I'll be telling you why it is very similar to the Series 2 Ood figure in a minute, but first of all we're going to quickly go through the packaging. Okay, so if we take a look at the front, we can see that it is, as usual, for Series 6 figure packaging. You've got some information about the figure at the top, along with the new BBC logo. Then you've got the plastic bubble in the middle containing the figure, and the figure's accessory, which is a translation orb. You've got the card at the bottom with the new Doctor Who logo and the name of the figure. Then at the back it shows you all of the Series 6 Wave 1A figures. And then you've got the same usual helpful product and company information at the bottom. And now it's time to take a look at Nephew. Okay, so here we have Nephew with his translation orb. Now this figure has been made from exactly the same sculpt as the Series 2 Ood figure, which was first released back in late summer or early autumn back in 2007, I believe. However, there are some bits of this figure which are different, such as the eyes. On the Nephew figure they are green instead of red, and we can also see the black pupils in them a lot more clearly. The tentacle-like things on the face look a bit more pink this time, whereas on the Series 2 Ood figure they were a bit more red, and I also believe that his outfit is a bit darker, and by the way, his translation orb is also a transparent green this time. I think that's all the differences and similarities between this and that figure, and now we shall take a look at the detail and sculpting as usual. Okay, so if we take a look at Nephew's head sculpt, we can see that it is absolutely fantastic in terms of detail. We can see his very creepy green eyes there, the scales going around his eyes and nose, and also his interesting pink tentacle-like things on his face. Now, as I said earlier, the tentacles on Nephew, or the tentacle-like things on Nephew, look a lot more pink than the tentacle-like things on the Series 2 Ood figure's face, and this time they look like they've been painted with a glossy pink, making them look sort of a bit wet and slimy, which helps to make the figure look very realistic and even more creepy than usual. No detail on the top of the head, but we can see on the side of the head his odd looking ears, and also the little brown spots which sort of look like freckles. There's also some of them going on the back there, and you can also see the cracks on top of his head there, which I think is probably something to do with the bone structure. The detail is just like that of the Series 2 Ood figure, but I think because this Nephew figure has had his head repainted, the detail can be seen a lot more easily. Okay, so if we take a look at Nephew's jacket, we can see that it has exactly the same detail as the Series 2 Ood figure's jacket. You've got the buttons going down the middle, the pockets, the ID badge just by his pocket, I believe, and you've also got lots of creases sculpted onto it, making it look very lifelike. Not much of a detail though. And if you take a look at Nephew's hands, we can see that he's wearing gloves. Now, during Nephew's episode, The Doctor's Wife, he didn't wear gloves at any point, so I do think the figure would have been better if the hands were changed to gloveless hands. I mean, with him wearing gloves on the actual figure, that makes him good for you to use him as a Series 2 Ood, but to be honest, I'd rather have him with gloveless hands like he had in the episode, rather than hands with gloves. They're exactly the same as the Series 2 Ood figure's hands, by the way. Okay, so here we have Nephew's trousers, just the same colour as his jacket. No detail on them, but they have been sculpted very nicely with all those creases. And at the bottom we can see his black shoes, which aren't really detailed. They haven't got any laces on them, I think, but they still look very nice and they stand out very easily. So that was all of Nephew's detail sculpting and paintwork. I think the detail on this figure is absolutely fantastic. All the detail that is needed is on the figure. The sculpting is very good as usual, especially with the head sculpt. The paintwork is very good as well, but I do think the figure would have been better if his hands were gloveless instead of with gloves, and I also think the outfit would have looked a bit better if it was dark blue, which is how it looks in The Doctor's Wife. Still a nice Ood variant, and now we shall go through his articulation. His head can turn from side to side, can't do a 360-degree turn because of the tentacle-like things. His arms can do a 360-degree turn at the shoulders, they can bend at the elbows, and both hands can turn 360 degrees. Lower body articulation, he can turn at the waist 360 degrees. Legs can move outwards on the top, go backwards and forwards, and they can also bend at the knees. So that was all of Nephew's articulation, just the same articulation as any other Ood figure other than the natural Ood. I think the articulation is okay. I'm glad the hands can turn around so you can put him into lots of different poses with his translation orb. But I do think the articulation would have been better if there was some bicep joints or some joints at the thighs so we can put him into some more poses. Still a nice figure though, and before I say my final comments about this figure, we're going to take a look at his translation orb. Okay, so here we have Nephew's translation orb, exactly the same as the translation orb that came into Series 2 Ood. As you can see, this time it's a transparent green, just like it was in The Doctor's Wife, and you've got the same usual detail, including the rings around the orb itself. I really like the fact that it has been made to be a transparent green, just like it was in the episode. I thought it looked absolutely brilliant like that. And the orb fits into Nephew's face very nicely, and it hardly ever falls out unless you turn the arms a bit too far, so you can put him into lots of different poses with the translation orb without worrying about it falling out. So if I was to give the translation orb a rating out of 10, I'd give it a very well and 10 out of 10. Really like the detail on it. It fits into Nephew's face very nicely, and I really like how it looks with the transparent green. So now it's time for me to give my final comments on the Nephew figure. Now overall, I think Nephew is a very good Ood variant for my collection. The detail is absolutely fantastic as usual, especially on that head sculpt. The clothing looks very good, the sculpting's very good, paintwork is absolutely fine on my one. And if I was to give Nephew a rating out of 10, I'd give him a 7 out of 10. It's a really good figure in terms of detail and sculpting. However, I do think it would have been better if his outfit was sort of more of a darker blue like it was in The Doctor's Wife. And I also think I would have liked the figure a bit more if he had gloveless hands like he did in the episode. Apart from that, I think this is a very good figure. I'd highly recommend it, especially with it being quite a rare figure at the moment, and I'm sure many young fans of the show will see this figure and really want to get it, so get it while you can. But despite my little dislikes about this figure, I still really like Nephew the Ood. I'm sure many Doctor Who figure collectors out there will be looking for this figure at the moment because it's very similar to the Series 2 Ood figures, and I'm sure that there'll be a lot of people out there that missed getting the Series 2 Ood figures and will probably want this. So I'd highly recommend it to you. Very good if you missed out on the Series 2 Ood figures that were first released back in 2007, and I'd also recommend it to you if you want to do scene recreations from The Doctor's Wife. And that's pretty much all I have to say for this for YouTubers. Hope you've all enjoyed watching it. And I don't know what my next review is going to be, because currently I'm filming the Character Building 11 Doctors set review, but I think I'm going to film some 5-inch figure reviews whilst I'm doing that as well. And I think the next figure I'm going to review is going to be either Idris or Uncle, seeing as I've just reviewed this figure, which is on The Doctor's Wife, or I might quickly review another recent addition to my collection, which was the Silent with Closed Mouth from Wave 1B. But whatever I'm going to be reviewing next, I will let you know what it is in the channel comment section on my channel. And that's all I have to say for this review. So I'm going to go now, edit this review and get it uploaded for you to enjoy. Thanks for watching, YouTubers, and I shall see you again soon.